Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we will be discussing some more questions on para summary, which are generally asked in CAT and other management entrance examinations. We have already discussed a lot of questions and the techniques that are generally used in identifying the correct summary in para summary questions. If you are a person who is watching this channel for the first time, I would suggest that you go back to the previous videos on para summaries to get a fuller understanding of the techniques that we generally use in arriving at the correct answers in para summary questions. So we will straight away go to the questions. First question. I'll give you some time to read the passage, understand it well, then eliminate the wrong options which are inconsistent with the passage, so that you get some can filter out the wrong options, so that you'll be left with one or two correct answers, and then you select the best answer. This is a strategy that we have already discussed it. All right. So the passage is discussing about a philosophy of this particular person called Bernard Williams. He's a British philosopher, and he is talking about the role that bad luck plays in our lives and how it affects our actions. So the first statement is very important. It says that what happens to us naturally coincides with what we do. That means in normally, whatever our situations are, it is dependent on our actions. So normally our actions determine what we do or what our condition is, and the here this our actions means our deliberate actions or whatever we do consciously. How do we know that? The word but. So by reading these two sentences, you should understand that. But in his paper, British philosopher is taking the example of a lorry driver who hits and kills a child, and this is not because of any fault of his, because he was not drunk, he was not driving carelessly, he might be driving very carefully. Still, he hit and killed a child, and he was just unlucky. So this word "but" is very important. So here it means that normally our deliberate actions or whatever we do consciously is defining what happens to us, but sometimes our actions which are not consciously done, or something that is done by us because of bad luck, that also determines our condition. This is the meaning, and that is why he says that he was unlucky, and the terrible thing is because of no fault of his own, it was just bad luck, and it will affect what we do. Or he says that, to put it in another way, what we do is not fully in control, in our control. So the first statement says that whatever we do is completely in our control. That is why what happens to us is determined by what we do, though. So the first idea is that what happens to us is fully within our control. Then this particular philosopher is saying that no, what happens to us is not always within our control. It is sometimes dependent on bad luck or something that we have no control over. That is the meaning. And then he discusses about the particular emotion that is accompanying a bad thing done by us, which is not because of our fault, it is because of bad luck. That feeling is known as agent regret. So he defines the feeling a person has when he does a bad thing because of bad luck. which is different from remorse. Again, it is very important, which is different from remorse. What is remorse? Remorse is that guilty consciousness that you get when you do something bad, or something when you do something that is not really good, and later on you regret it and you have a feeling of guilt. That is remorse. And he says that this remorse is basically, from the statement you can understand that remorse is basically when you do a bad thing deliberately, whereas agent regret is the feeling you have when you do a bad thing because of bad luck. This is the meaning. So two ideas are here. One idea is normally our actions are determined by or controlled fully by us, but in certain instances our actions are not fully within our control. It is because of bad luck. So bad luck plays a role in determining our conditions in many times. And second idea is that normally when we do a bad thing deliberately or consciously, and then the feeling of regret that we get afterwards is called remorse. But when we do a bad thing because of bad luck, and the feeling we get is known as agent regret. So two ideas are given. Once you simplify it, this is a very simple passage. Now going to the summaries. Bernard Williams theorizes that bad things play a role in our lives in contrast to the role of bad luck, which makes things happen to us. So is this correct? This part is correct. Bad luck has a role in our lives which makes things bad things happen to us. This is correct. And Bernard Williams is theorizing that bad things play a role in our lives. He is basically saying that bad things happen to us, not deliberately. Sometimes it is because of bad luck also bad things happen to us. So whatever our condition or situation is it is not fully within our control. It is bad things, bad luck is playing a role. Whereas he is not saying anything about bad things playing a role in our lives. That is not the purpose of the passage. The purpose of the passage is regarding bad luck, how it plays a role in our lives. And here the word in contrast to, in contrast to means different from. So here he says that bad things play a role and bad luck also plays a role. This is different from each other. This is not given in the passage. Since it is not given in the passage, this is not a good summary. Option B, Bernard Williams states the emotions experienced by humans when a bad thing happens is different from remorse. So here what it says, the emotions experienced by humans when a bad thing happens is different from remorse. Again wrong. It is not very specific. The passage says that the emotions experienced by human beings when bad things happen due to bad luck is different from remorse, which is the feeling you get when bad things happen when you, because of your deliberate actions. That is what it is given. That is what is implied here. So this part is again not fully correct, because the emotions experienced by human beings when a bad things happens because of bad luck, then it becomes correct. Then we can say that it is different from remorse. So this again is not a good answer. Option C, Bernard Williams analyzed the role of bad luck and how it influences the actions and emotions of humans. Good. It says that it is the bad luck has a role to play in our lives or our actions are not fully within our control. Luck also plays a role. So when you have bad luck, you get some bad situations or bad things happen to you, and it influences our actions, and then the certain emotions we get because of that emotion is also described as agent regret. So this is a good answer, possible answer. Keep it in your mind. Option D, Bernard Williams reflected on the common perception about the bad luck agent, which makes humans regret their actions. So here it says that again the agent regret is when bad things happen to us because of bad luck. That is bad luck agent, as a result of which we regret our actions. That part is correct. So it is talking about the agent regret part. But what is the problem here? Is there any problem here? Read minutely. When you have two probable answers, you have to be very careful. You have to read the statements minutely. The problem is common perception. Common perception means common belief. So is it stated that this particular feeling or emotion called agent regret is a common perception or a common belief about the bad luck agent? Not given. So there is nothing regarding common perception throughout the passage. The passage or this particular philosopher is not saying anything about this understand or this particular role of bad luck in our lives as a common perception or something that people know. So this is not stated as a common perception. So regarding bad luck agent or agent regret also, this is not stated as a common perception, because of which this cannot be a good summary. So this is the option C is the only correct summary. So in each and every statement there are certain inconsistencies or certain mistakes which are not given in the passage, that makes these options ineligible to be good summaries. Only option that becomes eligible is option C, where there are no inconsistencies or mistakes when you compare with what the passage is saying. So this should be our answer. So these questions are of a higher level of difficulty, where you need a very good keen reading and very good analysis, only then you'll get the answer. All right, we'll go to the next question. Again, I'll give you some time to read the passage, understand it well, then go through the options, eliminate the wrong options, filter in or list out the probable answers, and then select the best answer. Atheist is persons who are firmly believing God. The passage itself is saying that, so I don't have to give you this particular meaning, but still I'm giving you. Any person who is a firm believer in the existence of God is called an atheist. Not, sorry, my mistake. A person who is not believing in God is an atheist. A person who has absolutely no belief in God is an atheist. My mistake. As you can see in this passage, the author is talking about the continued conflict between two groups of people, one group believing in the existence of God, another group not believing in the existence of God. And the author says that these are because of the prejudices or biases they have been imbibed with by living in a community or in a family or their environment. So he says that a person's beliefs and value systems are greatly influenced by the environment in which he or she is born and brought up in. So when a person is raised in a family of believers, he will naturally be more inclined to believing in the existence of God, whereas when a person is born and brought up in a family of atheists who does not believe in the existence of God, he will definitely be having an inclination not to believe in the existence of God. And this is why when they are having a logical discussion, or when a lot of facts and figures regarding the existence or non-existence of God is brought to them, and then when they have a logical discussion regarding this, there is no consensus. Because why there is no consensus? Because their value systems or their inherent biases or their prejudices, you can say, which they have been born and brought up with, they play a role in deciding their opinion. So a person who has been presented with all the evidences regarding the existence or non-existence of God, when he analyzes those evidences, he would try to interpret the evidences to match with his inherent belief. So if he has a believer, he will try to interpret the evidences according to his belief. Or if he's a non-believer, then he will try to interpret his evidences, these evidences, to think that the God does not exist. This is the reason why this conflict is not resolved, or it is not going to be resolved. So the passage is saying that these evidences will be interpreted differently by different people depending on their beliefs or prejudices, as a result of which this divergence will continue to be there, and one side convincing the other will not happen, and we wouldn't have had centuries of religious conflict if things were so simple. Means things are not so simple. This conflict has been going on for centuries. It is not because people are not logical. People all are definitely logical, but even when they analyze the evidences logically, they are still having a tendency to interpret the evidences according to their inherent beliefs or inherent prejudices, as a result of which they interpret the same evidence in different manner, as because of which the conflicts never get resolved. This is the idea in the passage. So once you have the idea, the answer becomes not so difficult. Option A, the author talks about the importance of the beliefs maintained in the community in which we are born and their impact on our outlooks. Yes, the beliefs and the values that are imbibed to us through our families or our communities, that definitely takes a firm root in our minds, and that is affecting our opinions or outlook. This is a good answer. This is telling us the influence of the environment on our opinions or on our outlooks regarding atheism or non-atheism. This is the meaning. So this is a good answer. Keep it in your mind. Option B, the author is trying to point out a simple solution to the problems and splits the divergence. Is he pointing out any simple solution? No, he says that the solution is not simple at all. The solution is not at all going to be found as long as this prejudices exist within the people. That is why he says that we are having centuries of religious conflict. So there is no simple solution as far as the author is concerned, and he's splitting the divergence and ideas created within the societies. Again, we are not talking about the divergent ideas within this. We are all talking only about one divergent idea, which is the existence or non-existence of God. Other divergent ideas we are not really discussing in the passage. So because of these two things, this is not a good answer. Option C, the author targets the two different ideologies followed by people concerning belief in God and lays down the reasoning for the same. Good answer. You might think that this is a good answer because he is targeting the two different ideologies. What are the ideologies? One group of people say believing in God, another group of people not believing in God. And what is the reasoning for the same? The reasoning is the inherent prejudices or biases that are there in these two groups of people because of their upbringing or because of their beliefs in their families or their societies. This is the reason. So this seems like a good answer. So we will keep it as a probable answer. So you have two probable answers. Option D, the author points out the importance of perceiving things in a manner that reduces the divergence between the ideologies of different people. He says that people should try to perceive things in a logical manner, so that the divergence is avoided. Is it possible? The author says that this is not possible. This kind of perception of things in a logical manner is not possible. That is why we are having this conflict for centuries. We are not able to resolve this conflict. So the author is not pointing out the importance of perceiving things. He is actually saying that it is impossible to perceive things in a logical manner. So this again is not a good answer. So you have two good answers, option A and option C. Now, when you have two good answers, again go through the options carefully. The author is talking about the importance of the beliefs maintained in the community in which we are born and their effect on our outlooks. Not a problem here. So again, this is a good answer. It matches with whatever is stated in the passage. Go to see the author targets the two different ideologies. What is the meaning of the word targeting? Targeting means when you are criticizing or when you are opposing something, it is called targeting. So here the author is criticizing the two different ideologies. The basic idea becomes the author is criticizing or opposing the two different ideologies followed by people. Is the author opposing the two different ideologies? The author is just saying that there are two different ideologies. One is belief in the existence of God. Other one is non-belief in the existence of God and the reasons for the same. So the author is not saying that belief is wrong or non-belief is wrong. So targeting is not really a correct word to be used here. The author is just explaining the two different ideologies followed by people and the reasoning for the same. That should have been the correct answer. So because of the word targeting, this becomes a less or a worse answer than option A. We are having a better answer, so our question is to choose the best answer. So because of this particular word, this becomes ineligible to be the best answer, whereas option A is the best answer because it talks about everything that is given in the passage without any distortions or without any misconceptions. So this is why this option A becomes the correct answer. Hope this is clear. Again, a tough question, so careful analysis is required for these kind of questions. Now go to the third one. I'll give you some time. Follow the same process, then come up with a good answer. All right, the passage is talking about this concept or phenomenon called chemo brain. What is this chemo brain? By reading the context, you can understand that chemo brain is some kind of cognitive difficulty. What is cognitive difficulty? A difficulty to understand things that are happening around you is called cognitive difficulty. Cognition means understanding or consciousness. So how do we know that chemo brain is cognitive difficulty? This particular sentence: the absence of chemo brain in about half of those who received treatment for cancer might be because of their cognition was not already affected by stress. So from this we can understand that chemo brain is actually something that is affecting your cognition. So something that is affecting your consciousness or understanding or your being alive to the surroundings or whatever is happening in the surroundings, that is but that might be chemo brain, and it is happening when a person undergoes cancer treatment in the form of chemotherapy and radiotherapy, rather than when he is following when he is undergoing surgery for cancer. So the passage says that when a person is undergoing a particular cancer treatment called chemotherapy and radiation therapy, such people are having more incidences of chemo brain rather than people who are directly undergoing surgery alone. So two particular cancer treatments are mentioned here. One is chemotherapy and radiotherapy as a single kind of treatment. Another one is surgery. So persons who are undergoing only surgery for cancer, they have lesser incidences of chemo brain, whereas people who are undergoing chemo and radiotherapy, they have more incidences, and the reason are not very clear, but they are indicated. They are the author is talking about a likely reason. It is because the higher stress levels of people who are having undergoing chemo and radiotherapy. So when people who are undergoing chemo and radiotherapy, they have higher levels of stress, so because of which the chemo brain phenomenon is more prevalent or more happening among such patients than patients who are undergoing only surgery. And one more reason is given as the pre-stress level. That means some people who are already having stress even before cancer treatment, such people also have higher incidence of chemo brain. That is why it says that women who have pre-existing depression and anxiety are more likely to experience chemo brain symptoms. So these are the ideas given in the passage. Now go to the options. The other talks about the after effects of chemotherapy or radiation therapy, which can lead to cognitive impairment. So it says that chemotherapy and radiation therapy can lead to cognitive impairment. Yes, it is talking about that. So it is a probable answer. Keep it in your mind. Other discusses the cognition, but the problem, what is the problem with option A? It is not talking about, it is talking only about the chemo and radiotherapy leading to chemo brain. It is not talking about the stress factor, nor it is saying that people who are having are undergoing surgery, they are not getting this particular problem. So that aspect is not given here. So this is giving you only one aspect of the passage, not the complete aspect. Still, it is not having any inconsistencies or mistakes, so that is why we can consider it as a probable answer. Option B, the author discusses the cognition impairment. Impairment means difficulties or some deficiencies, that is impairment, caused by chemotherapy, and observe that surgery itself cannot be responsible for the same. True, because when surgery alone is conducted, chemo brain is not happening, so surgery itself cannot be responsible for the same, while stress is a contributing factor. Again, it is saying that stress is a contributing factor for chemo brain, because the people who are undergoing radiation and chemo, they have higher levels of stress, and also people who have already have stress before cancer treatment, they are getting chemo brain. So that is why the stress is a contributing factor. So this is a better answer than option A, because it talks about the various aspects of chemo brain as discussed in the passage, rather than talking only about one aspect. So B is a better answer. So we will consider B as a probable answer over A. Then C, the author discusses the effects of high stress levels on people surviving cancer by going through radiation. So here it says that, what is the meaning of this statement? After going through radiation therapy, people have more stress, and the author is discussing about that such people, such stress level. Is it correct? No. The author is discussing about the cognitive impairment caused by radiation therapy, and because of the higher levels of stress of radiation therapy. This is what. Whereas the option says that the author is discussing the higher stress levels that are caused by radiation therapy. Means it's a radiation therapy. After radiation therapy, people have high levels of stress. It is not talking about the cognitive impairment. It is not talking about chemo brain. So this is not a good answer. You already have a better answer in option B. Option D, the author concludes that women have a higher chance of getting chemo brain after undergoing chemotherapy. Is it a correct statement? Read closely what the passage is saying. This would also explain why women who have pre-existing depression and anxiety. So only women who are having pre-existing depression and anxiety, they are more likely to have chemo brain. Whereas the option, the stage that the author concludes that women have a higher chance means what? When you say women, you mean all women. So here it is generalizing the statement given in passage. The passage is saying that women who are having pre-existing depression and anxiety, means more stress even before cancer treatment, such people are having more incidences of chemo brain. Whereas option is generalizing it by saying all women have a higher chance of getting chemo brain undergoing chemotherapy. Wrong again. So this is why option A is nothing wrong with option A, but option B is a better answer. C is wrong, D is wrong. So we have option B as the best summary for the particular passage. I hope this is clear now. So that's all for today. We will discuss more such complex para summary passages in the future videos. If you have found the techniques and the questions useful in your preparation, kindly like, share, and subscribe. I need more exposure and more reach so that I get motivated to bring you more videos. So kindly help me to popularize the channel by spreading word among your friends or people who are preparing for the exam, so that I get motivated to make more videos on various aspects of reading comprehension and interview preparation that will be beneficial to you. So we'll meet again. Thank you. Bye bye.